Well, what an amazing time that life is becoming. I just want to take a minute and honor each and every one of you for being, doing, and having everything you have right now. And what I mean by that is by simply existing, you have become one of the very few who have chosen to continue living life. And that is such a big deal. I don't think y'all understand how big of a deal it is to get up every day, choose life, and encourage the continuance of creation. Because truly that's what we're doing. But let's not get too deep today, okay? What we're really going to be focused on is more so of victimhood. And to do this, to introduce this, I want to read this quote to you. Okay, it's about, I would say 8-9 sentences long, so stick with me on this. And this was read by me, written by Marianne Williamson. Okay, let's see what she has to say. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Now, if you have to pause and rewind to listen to that again, please do. And if you want to read it for yourself, look up Marianne, it's one name, Williamson. She's written something called, I just recently learned about this maybe a week ago, something called A Course in Miracles. Has anyone ever heard of that book? I think it's a book that you get and then you kind of rewrite it with your own narrative. That's my understanding. Haven't really gotten into it. But the reason why I feel like that quote is so important when it comes to recognizing victim mentality is because it starts out with, we are not afraid of our darkness, right? Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, that part. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Now, here's the thing with victimhood. If we get caught up in it, if we feel like we are victims of our circumstance, what are we doing? We're neglecting our power as human beings. And if this is your first time here, welcome to Mind is Matter. I'm your host, Makaija Kisi. We've been going on this path for a good year and a half, almost 2 years, based on my memory. Lots of episodes. And the purpose of Mind is Matter is not for me to teach anything. The purpose of Mind is Matter is for you to have space to make time for yourself in the most important ways possible, and that is getting your mind into a state which helps your body to get into a state, which helps your feelings get into a state, and it's a ripple effect. The mind is just the first part. Getting you into a state of power, back into a state of power, like when you were a child. Most children, right? There's some kids who grow up in some pretty dark places, but I'm going to speak to the 99% here. Most children are so creative, so abundant, so loving, so giving, that they don't necessarily, and I could say we as kids, don't necessarily feel the denseness of this world just yet. It's through society, economics, parenthood, that helps to create this identity around that child. And when not cultivated properly, when not given the right identity, such as you are powerful, but given the identity of be quiet, you're not enough, you should be like this person, you shouldn't do that in these places, we're given a false sense of reality. And that's just the way that things have gone. That's just the way that our society has decided, collectively, to achieve what it is that we want to achieve. However, I'm here to put a stake in the ground by saying we are not victims of anything. And the more and more and more that we buy into that victim mentality, we fall short of our true power. And here's the crazy part. As I was going through my own journey, leveling up to a certain degree that I wanted to be at, and even more so now, I realized how much I was buying into the victim mentality. I realized, wow, I'm blaming everything on everyone except for my own self. Now, of course, if I did something wrong or bad or whatever you want to label that as, I felt some type of shame or guilt or responsibility for having taken that action, had that reaction. But overall, when we get into a place where we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, what am I doing that is actually causing these things that I don't want to happen in my life? What am I putting out there that's drawing this back? Then we reach that new level. But it's not easy to get out of victimhood because it is so deep in like the fabric of how we think that we have to uncover in what ways we're being victims. And as we uncover that, we become more enlightened to it. And then we can choose to change it or to keep it the same. Most people choose to change it when they find out. Some people, just like that guy in the Matrix, the red pill, blue pill, even though he took the red pill, he came out of the Matrix and went into the real world, so to speak. He chose, didn't he? He said, man, but steak tastes so darn good. So that guy, he chose to go back into the Matrix knowing that everything was an illusion, but he just was so attached to that. He loved the good feelings. He loved all that stuff that he just had to go back. Now, there's a trick in there in the Matrix, the movie, because the trick is that we are already liberated. Okay. And we in God's true nature are already abundant. And when we don't take heed to that, like when we get tricked by watching the movie The Matrix and looking like, oh my God, when I leave the Matrix, everything's going to be dark, dirty, hard to get. I'm going to be fighting these robots or these weird entities that just want to suck the energy out of me. That can trick us into wanting to stay in the Matrix. You see what I'm saying? But the truth is, the real Matrix, that we currently live in and we are creating as time goes on, the real Matrix, is the darkness. It is that sad. It is that depression. It is that victimhood. That's the real Matrix. And the truth of everything is abundance, is freedom, liberation, joy, excitement, enjoyment, peace, truth. So I don't know if you recognize that when you watch The Matrix, but I want you to recognize that now. Because right now you have a choice. Do I want to keep being a victim? Do I want to keep blaming things on everything outside of myself? Do I want to look at that person and say, you triggered me, and that's why I did that, or that's why I reacted that way? You can say that, but there comes a point in time where if you're listening to this video, you're attracting this type of message to come to you, because you want to excel, because you want to leave that state of being. You want to live in a different way. You want to have the things that you want. And to go about getting them, I've always said this, there's 2 ways to do it. You can do it by force, by sheer willpower, by pushing through the denseness, or you can do it with your energy. I don't know about you, but doing it with the energy, it just feels more at ease. It feels better. It feels more exciting. It feels like, ooh, I can do that. How do I do it though, right? And these are things that we learned in the Reclaim Your Life event that I did on September 12th, 2024, and that I will be doing another one in October 11th, 2024. It will be live in person and on video. So that's the exciting part. As long as everything goes as planned, as I'm planning it in my mind, it will be live, it'll be hybrid and live in person and on Zoom. So if you can make it live in person, I will shoot you the details here very soon. Look out for those, especially on my Instagram at It's Makaija. And if you can only make it on the Zoom, that's perfectly fine as well. I'm super excited about it because it really does help people get down to the nitty-gritty of why are we getting what we get in life? Because you're always getting what you're getting because of you, not because of anyone else. And these things may be really hard to hear. It may hurt. It may sting a little bit, right? Maybe like a little mosquito bite. But listen, again, you invited this message into your world because you're seeking how to energetically align with the things that you want. And the first step to do that, for most people, what I've noticed is stepping out of victimhood. Take a step outside of that box and look back at the box and say, how in the world did this get created? That's crazy, right? Look at it from an objective point of view. Now, I'm not saying that things did not happen to you, right? Things happen. People disappoint us. We get programmed. We run into bad luck, so to speak. But that's not to say that anything else outside of you is in control of your life. You are the author and power of your life. And the more that you take that on as your responsibility and your responsibility, I'm just going to say that word because it's so powerful. The more that you take that on as your own responsibility, yes, you're going to have to put in a little bit of work because so far you've just been doing things in a forceful way, right? You've been trying to willpower things. You don't have a job, so what are you doing? You're wondering, why can't I get a job? I'm putting out all these resumes. I'm putting all my heart out there, but no one's hiring me. The more that you're reintroducing and reaffirming that victimhood mindset, you're going to continue searching for jobs. But what if you said, the right job is waiting for me, and I'm getting myself into alignment right now. As I write this resume, I'm not writing it to impress anyone. I'm writing it for the right job, the right person, the right manager that's going to see it and then call me, right? You see, the difference in that is so subtle, but it makes the world of difference. It's always about shifting your perspective. So take this on as something that you might want to do. Okay, this is something that I used to do, that I still do in practice, just not as much because I have other techniques that work for me. Because when you change and when you grow, you acquire different techniques. And one of my favorites, though, that I will say helped me so much, especially when I was feeling depressed and sad and anxious and worried about literally everything. Like, people don't get it. People look at me today and be like, man, I couldn't even imagine you being an alcoholic, being a smoker, most things, right? Except hard drugs. Never did hard drugs. But I could never see you being like this pissed off, anxious, worried asshole, because I was that 100%. When I was in those moments, what I would do is I would go to the mirror. Okay. Didn't know what I was doing, but something was drawing me to the mirror. Like, go look in the mirror. And I would just stare into my eyes. I would stare. I have no makeup on, out of the shower, looking, a hot mess, whatever the case might have been. I would stare at myself, and every time I would get that reassurance of, 1, everything is okay. 2, you are in control of this more than you give yourself credit for. And 3, you are not a victim. So I urge you, I invite you to try that out. Go look in the mirror today. It doesn't matter how long. Look in the mirror as long as you can and look into your eyes. Every time I ask someone, how much do you look into your eyes in the mirror? They all laugh and chuckle and they're like, oh, not really a lot. And I'm like, why? And they say, I don't know. It's hard to look into the mirror, right? And it can be. But that's right there where a lot of this growth mentality, this new ushering in of a new self comes from. Look into the mirror, okay? And don't ask me what type of result you're going to get. I used to always cry. I used to end up crying, like bawling every time and feeling those things that I just told you that I felt. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Mind is Matter. I'm super stoked to be back. It's been, I think, 2 weeks since I've had an episode published. So welcome back, Makaj, baby. I'm so stoked. I love my podcast. I love doing this with you all. You're all so beautiful, so enlightened, so trusting, that you're on the right path. So continue in that mindset of trusting you're on the right path. Trust that this message you asked for, and trust that there's nothing that's going to stop you from getting what you want besides yourself. Okay? I love you so much. Remember, we have a new Reclaim Your Life coming out October 11th. That's a Friday, 10/11. I chose 11 because it's a portal, right? The number 11, if you look at it, it's like a doorway. Okay, you can walk through that doorway, and in return, you step into a brand new life. Can't wait to see you on the next episode. Again, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Mwah, love ya.